So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a discussion about inclusion and art, and we're gonna have some wonderful, wonderful women with us who are going to talk about inclusion in art and community. And so, what we're going to do first is we're going to have them go ahead and introduce themselves. And you're going to pass the mic on. So, everybody, can we give it up for Mariah Ivy, Allison Victoria, and Manon Voice, please? And so, yes, tell us who you are, Miss Mariah Ivy. Brief intro, your name, what you do, and then where you from.
Awesome. Hey, y'all. So my name is Mariah Ivy. I am a poet, spoken word artist, MC, and vocalist from Indianapolis. Moved to Chicago, went to Columbia College in downtown Chicago. Traveled the East Coast on a East Coast poetry tour. Came back to Indy and started a space called That Piece Open Mic. So I host an open mic every third Thursday of the month. I have a band called Tribe Soul. We'll actually be rocking a little bit later at 6:30. And by day, I work at Peace Learning Center. So I do a lot of equity work and social emotional learning with children as well. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you.
Well, hello, Allison Victoria. Really, I just singer songwriter, a little bit of a musician. If I don't say it, people get on me like, come on, like if I do it on stage, I might as well just own it. So yeah, I play a little of that, yeah, I just put my band together recently, and
Where are you from, Allison?
Oh, I'm from here. Indianapolis, Indiana. And yeah, I really just hit this open mic scene. And literally 2 shows in, they were like, can you come do a show here at the Transit Center downtown? And it was, just hit the ground running from there. And Indy has been putting me on in different spaces, and including Mariah Ivy. She's been a really, really, really key part of my journey. So it's really, we're talking about, this term inclusive. Like that's exactly what, this all is. So I just feel like it's dope that you guys had us come out to represent that, because that's what we did. That's what we are. So,
What's up, Manon?
Yo, yo, yo. Hi, everybody. I'm Manon Voice, and I am a poet, spoken word artist, hip hop MC, freelance writer, social justice activist, practicing contemplative, and I was born and raised here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Always loved hip hop, loved poetry, and so those were 2 paths that were congruent in my coming of age. So I've been doing both now for probably about 8 years on the scene, and really, really blessed to have a lot of different opportunities to do what I love. And so thanks for being here today.
Thank you. And again, my name is Chantel Massey. I will be your facilitator for the evening. So we're going to just go ahead and get right into it. Can you guys kind of talk to us about what your definition of inclusion is? So, like, what does inclusion look like to you? And it's a very broad question.
sure. Yeah, I guess I can, like I said, I kind of touched on it already. But like I said, when I started music, it was really just me going to an open mic, and I really didn't know anything about Indianapolis' scene. I used to say, unfortunately, oh yeah, I'm from Indianapolis, unfortunately. I didn't know anything about the scene. And so literally that changed in 2 shows, or 1 show actually, overnight. Vibe on Wednesday, then I went to That Piece open mic, and I just found everything from there. I found everything, and it was all because Mariah said, hey, like, I have a show that you can, come be a part of. She saw me at the first open mic. And just like that, it was like you're in the water and you're going. So to me, it just means bringing, people together and giving them a chance, a platform, and shining together. So, yeah, that's my definition.
When I think of inclusion, especially as a curator, I think of creating safe spaces where strangers eventually become family, where regardless of where you're from or, whatever, we recognize, we value, and we see the humanity in each one of us and each other. So when I'm creating a space for art, whatever it is we're doing, whether it's a jam session, whether we're just, kicking it, creating that inclusive space where we value one another. Like I said, we see the humanity in one another, and everybody brings whatever they have to the table and in that space, and you take up space if you need to take up space, and we hold space for you, for your voice, for your gift, for your talent, for your mind, for your body, so yeah.
Yeah, just to sort of just add a little bit to these ladies, I think inclusion definitely asks us to be intentional.
Yeah.
In regards to, like Mariah said, how we hold space for others and who we hold space for, and it's really celebrating people from all walks of life. I think definitely in certain music scenes and in certain arenas, there's sometimes there is a status quo of who we think should be included, the faces who we think should be put out front, and then there are other voices that, because of what we've termed are different, they become marginalized voices. They become the voices on the periphery. And so it takes intentionality to really include those voices, and whether that be women or whether that be the LGBTQ community, or whether that be people of different genres. I think we have to look at it very, very broadly, and just really be intentional about creating the spaces for people to be celebrated, and letting people know that everybody's is valuable, and that art is universal. Art is universal, and music is universal, and so we have to start there.
Yeah. So I'm glad you actually brought that up and you talked about status quo, because I wanted to ask you guys, or you ladies, about what it's like being a woman MC or a woman musician in Indianapolis, and how it's kind of been creating that space yourself of inclusion, and just kind of making space for you and making space for others too, with wordplay, for example, like you were in wordplay, and then with that piece, and then just being here,
So so when I started off as a hip hop MC years ago, it was really interesting because so now we are very, very fortunate to have like Mariah Ivy and Boogie Gorman and Sid Blaine and Nina Tyree, all these other phenomenal MCs who happen to be women, who were just extraordinary. And their voices are really just reverberating throughout the city and throughout this country, and what they are doing. I'm very, very grateful to see that. When I started out, I did not really have any peers as far as women MCs, and so it was a very lonely road in trying to navigate and traverse the challenges of being inside of a very male-dominated industry. I do hip-hop here, and so I feel like there was kind of a gridlock on who we gave access to and on who we gave the stage to. And there were times where I was trying to get into certain venues, I was trying to get into certain shows, and I was doing it like by myself as a woman, and it was so discouraging because I just felt like I was banging like the door down. And for a long time I got even discouraged with doing hip hop, and so I primarily just started just only focusing on poetry and spoken word, and I kind of let hip hop go a little bit because of the things that I faced. I mean, like I was working with producers who were all men, and I remember one time working on an entire album for a year and a half, And there are some people who like in the city, like other artists who I was collaborating with who also would have been featured on this album. I was spending time and money investing, and this whole album disappeared in the hands of this producer here.
What?
Yes, yes. But at that point, I was not known enough. I did not have enough clout to say this well-known producer here totally just, I felt like, ripped me off.
Yeah.
So I didn't even, because I felt like if I tried to sort of, like it was a power dynamic is what like I'm saying. And so I went through that, and that totally was discouraging. And then, came along, I was formed relationships. I had the blessing of meeting Mariah, who formed Wordplay with the intention of let's give women MCs or MCs who happen to be women a platform, right? And so she was able to do that because she recognized the challenges that we were facing. As just being branded, that's a female MC and not just an MC. So it's been really great seeing the evolution. I'm so, proud of them and for what they're doing. I'm proud of how the indie scene has grown. I think it's growing. It has evolving, but it was very, very rough when I started out. So,
well, thank you for pushing through, because your voice is definitely needed.
Thanks.
So, Allison, yeah.
Yeah, she's right. Like, I want to touch on what you said about, just there being a specific type. Like if you are an MC or a female MC, then you are a specific. I don't know. It's like men will literally come to you with, an idea for just a specific genre or a specific type and expect you all to be within the same Nicki Minaj, or you're the same. Like we have substance. We have, self-respect. So I think that running into those things, those obstacles, is definitely it's a major thing that I feel like is earning your respect, in this lane. So like she said, creating these opportunities and these spaces where we can be showcased, and like we're more than just a female MC. Like it's not just that we're a female. You don't have to say that even. I think Mariah kind of I can't remember who actually pointed that out to me, and I was just like, you're right. Why do we say that? Why? Like it just really. We don't have to put a female in front of it. But as far as being inclusive with this scene, like I definitely, it's been a journey. You do have the status quo where you feel like, oh, I can't get on that show. I know there's a lot of shows that happen in the city and people get upset about for not being put on them. But I think it's a matter of, if you don't have the opportunity, just create it yourself. Find those that there are people out here that will put you on shows and love on you and give you opportunities. That piece open mic, Locomotion, was one that I hosted, and there's just so many open mics, like vocab, there's just so many out here that all you have to do is kind of just involve yourself, be present, and I've loved to see, like, I honestly didn't know the scene before I hit the scene. I always hear like, oh, the scene is so different now. Don't you hear that?
Yeah.
They're like, man, y'all are really pulling us together and moving and shining and making Indianapolis stand out. And I think it's beautiful to be a part of it. I'm just like, wow, really? It wasn't like this? Like, you guys, really? Like, there's a lot of people. It was, look. Everybody's upset. Everybody's upset about it, and but they're proud. And it's almost hard to get them to come out sometimes. Like, no, you got to come back out. Like, you got to come check us out. We're actually banding together. And there is still, a little separation, like, here and there. But that's just, that's slowly starting to close, just from events like this, you know what I mean? And so it's just really dope, so I think it's dope.
Yeah. What's up, Mariah?
So I first wanted to touch on when you are a organizer or curator, you also have to recognize your role as a gatekeeper, because you very much so are a gatekeeper. You have the power to make a space inclusive or not. You have the power to invite in or keep out or keep in, right? So for me, knowing that power that I have is like, okay, cool. Every time I organize an event, I have to be intentional, down to the marketing, down to what kind of spaces we're promoting the show in, down to who's on this lineup. Is there different people and different genres represented in this space? And so that kind of went into wordplay. And if you don't know about wordplay, it was a hip hop show we did a few years back at the Arts Garden, and it just came about organically because I realized, like, yo, some of my closest friends are women who are also super dope MCs, and I don't see them on lineups. None of us are really getting thrown into the mix, and so we're gonna do a show that's all hip hop, that's at night, that's at the Arts Garden, which doing a hip hop show at the Arts Garden in the evening time is unheard of. So we're going to use our partnerships to figure that out, to highlight these women. I also didn't want to do a flyer where you've seen their faces, because we have a habit of only showing up if we can see who's on it. Nah, we're going to throw these names on here. You may not recognize them, but if you trust that it'll be a dope show, know that it'll be a dope show, right? Just get your ticket and come out and support. And so that's kind of how that came about. Another point I wanted to make was Boogie. This is my best friend. Can you just throw your hand up, right? So,
What's up, Boogie?
Boogie and I, as a collective, make up Tribe Soul, right? And when we started hitting the scene, just performing and doing music, someone asked us who we thought our female competition was in the city. They said, "Who's your female competition?" And we were like, Theon Lee. So if you don't know Theon, he's another crazy dope hip hop artist. He's the front man vocal of Clint Breeze in the Groove. And so we were like, Theon, number one, not only because he's dope, but two, the goal isn't for us to remain female MCs or in our own category. The goal is to be thrown in the mix. If you have a lineup of men, throw me in that, right? There is no separation, right? So we wrote a song about it called Just MC. Y'all should check it out around 6:30. So, but yeah, I mean, the struggle has been real as a woman in a male-dominated industry. But I feel like part of our role is to also change the language and the thinking around these things. So when someone says I'm a female MC, even if it is another woman saying it, I politely correct her. I would like to just be called an MC. Just introduce me as an MC. So we have to begin pushing that. Let's change the language. If we change the language, we can change the mindset. So yeah.
Absolutely. So you all brought up a lot of great things. I was going to ask you, what's something that keeps you going? What's something you can speak to, something that keeps you going? Like, I don't know, what has made you comfortable, like, within yourself to continue to be on this path here as a MC or as a artist in general, right? Because you all spoke about this resonating struggle, and it's one thing to say that you're the MC, but then it's another thing to kind of like do their work every day to get everybody to think about the language.
Man, I feel like what keeps me going is the people. Like, I don't know about you, but like I could be anxious, I could be, extremely nervous and about to, completely vomit on stage because that almost happens. But I can make contact with someone and just realize that they're listening, and I have their ear, I have their attention, and you realize that you have a lot of control, like she said, being intentional, and just trying to move through that in every second. Like, that's been the major part of me becoming a professional musician, because I just got thrown into the open mic scene. Like, boom, 2 open mics, boom, now you're doing transit center, airport, corporate events, and all this other stuff. I just got thrown in, and I'm learning as I go, and I'm like, wow, but you know what? It's not all about just making people feel good. Let's make sure that we plant a seed. We do what we can to make people think, to make people grow, and change their. Even if you just get one person, I've performed in very intimate spaces, and those have been some of my best, most liberating moments. Like, I'm just like, man, like, I've been in tears singing a song that I've sung 100 times or more, and it's just like having that opportunity is just everything. Just being intentional and. Yeah, it's definitely hard, though, definitely, because there's a lot against you, and a lot of pressure to, fit. And like, I don't know about y'all, but it's hard to get into the club scene. It's kind of hard to break that. You're not gonna get there. I don't even think they want to hear that. But I want to. There's still. I feel like they don't think they could, but I feel like I could hear Mariah in the club. Will y'all please put her up there? Like we would be jamming. Like we would be jamming because you don't even know what she gonna pull out. Like swear you don't know what she gonna pull out. And I swear I've been like literally. Listen, it's great. It's great. It's great. And it's a balance. Listen, and I love it, and I love it, and I love that all of us, in this room, that like all the artists that I know are very like multifaceted. They have like different things to bring to the play. Like I never knew that she rapped when I first met. Like I didn't know, but it was beautiful, and it was just I learned as I went. So now I just want to teach others. I'm like, yo, let me show you the way. Like just by being the example. So let me just stop rambling.
Thanks, Allison. So when I was growing up in the 90s during the golden era of hip hop, I just remember like how good hip hop made me feel. And I remember, listening to, like I have had a very eclectic appreciation for hip hop MCs and rappers from all over like the country. So I listened to everybody from, Scarface and Outkast and Mr. Mike. You guys don't look like you know who those people are. East Coast, I was listening to Jay-Z in the cassette tapes, and Nas and, I listened to Tupac and was with NWA. And so I just remember how good hip hop felt then and how much I loved it, how it felt like it was just this voice for the people that looked like us, who were voicing their struggles, but who were also talking about their triumphs, who were empowering other people through music. And hip hop has been this singular phenomenon that we are still studying and understanding that just keeps growing and growing and evolving. It has changed and transformed cultures all over the world. And it started from just the Bronx, from the poorest, the Bronx in the 1970s, I think, was the poorest neighborhood in America. And that's where hip hop came out of, where blacks and Latinos were facing violence and poverty. That's where that came from. And so I think about that. And I think about how we have inherited something so beautiful and that has came up through struggle. And that's what keeps me doing it. That's really what keeps me doing it. Even like the times when I've just been discouraged, I will play something from back in the day and it'll just like resonate with my soul. And I'm like, okay, this is why I'm still doing hip hop. This is why I still love it. It's because of this. So every time I get on the stage and I do it, I feel like I'm back at home. And then the support is what keeps me going. When you see other people supporting you, coming to the shows and, saying, hey, man, like that was dope. Keep going. That actually is what keeps us going is y'all. Y'all coming out and supporting and sharing, doing all of that. That makes a huge difference in the life of an artist who is facing odds. So I really appreciate that. I just want to shout out my man, like over here with the cool sunglasses and the backwards hat, because FAF Collective.
Shout out to FAF.
Shout out to FAF. They did something similar on a smaller stage where they put on an all hip hop show with all women lineup, and so it was featured in Nouveau, and we did this great story with Seth. But then this gentleman here, he came to the show, and I don't think he knew any of us personally, right? But he was so touched by the show that he wrote like a whole, like pages and pages and pages of a review. What's your website? Eric Lomez. So he wrote this beautiful write-up in this like review. And it was like, yes. And he was like praising us, as being these dope MCs in the city, like, why don't y'all know that,
Right.
And so just people like Eric, who did that. And that just gave me like, yes, thank you so much. Somebody is recognizing, this, and somebody is recognizing us. And so, Eric, thank you. We need more people like Eric. We need more, people, who are willing to do write-ups and to interview us and to do stories. So, yeah, so that's what keeps us going. That's what keeps me going.
Okay. And we should have some paper around here coming around in case you guys have some other questions, because we're gonna open it up to receive the paper, and I'll ask them questions that you guys have. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So quick story. Lauryn Hill is part of the reason that I am an artist. When I heard her music, so I had like stole my brother's CD, and I was just playing nothing but Lauryn Hill. And for me, she was the first black woman in my experience that I heard as an MC, a vocalist, a musician, a poet, and she's equally as great at all of them. Some people, if they do like multiple things, they're like really dope at two of them and okay at one of them. And she's like dope at all of them. So it was her being, it was her existence, it was her content that like moved me. So the Miseducation was great, but her MTV Unplugged album changed my life. Listening to that, I mean, tears running down my face on some days, because the music is that transformative. And I said, man, if I create music, I want it to move people like this. I want to create music that feels like something that makes you know what I mean? That's what kind of impact I want to have. And so in doing that, that kind of brought me into my artistry and challenged me to go deeper in what I'm talking about. That music also made me realize that music heals people. It is a healing process, and sometimes if you don't understand or appreciate the art of music, you may just hear it as background noise, right? But music literally heals people, and I think that's what keeps me going, because I know the power of it, right? And being a person who works in school systems, I see how this art affects young people, right? I've had a kid come to me and bring me his composition notebooks, and he don't want to talk. He just wants me to read his work. And so the more that I nurture and nourish that artistic, creativeness in him, makes him come into himself more, right? I see how art changes people, how it challenges people, how it heals and grows people, and that's what keeps me going. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So once you write your question down on your paper, I'm gonna. Could you go around and collect them? I don't have like a bow. I'm so sorry. Oh, I was. Either one. Either one. Thank you guys so much. The next question that I have for you. Because you all, I'm glad you guys talked about what influences you to continue to make your work. But I also wanted to ask you more about the organizers and like what people can do to support and create more spaces that are inclusive for women artists. So you talked a little bit about organizers and how they're the gatekeepers, but let's just go a little bit more into that. Like, what does that look like? What does it mean for them to really include you and your voice and what you represent?
I'm gonna just say, because I'm new to this, I'm gonna just get this out the way, because I know that these two women, I respect them so much. They've done so much in the community, and just watching them has truly, inspired me and made me really like. They're definitely a piece to that puzzle. Lauryn Hill being another, but it's different. Look, it's different when you can really see these people, touch these people, talk to these people, converse with them, and grow, and they're, it's real, like we talk about things. We've sat and talked for hours about things, and it's just like having, those people around that keep your mind like that. But just, I guess so, yeah, hosting, let me get into it, but hosting an open mic was the scariest thing I've ever done. Being a new artist on the scene was like, okay, I'm going to jump on here and I'm going to try and curate an event. a family-friendly event. So it was cool. I got to be funny. I got to ramble. I got to be myself. And it's still, like one of the most amazing things I've done. But it's it was very, you have to really be careful. You have to care about what you're putting out there, care about who's on the mic. You can't just put anyone up there. You can't just let anyone have your microphone to say whatever. There are people I would see out in shows. I'm not going to invite them. They weren't talking about, like, this is a family-friendly open mic specifically. But I still do invite people out, like, rather you can come, but this is, I had to, like, push that. Family-friendly open mic. It's not that you can't come. You just can't say that. But just knowing and being careful with the message. I don't want this to, like, I want this space to be a space where it's intimate and listen, and for people to, like, I don't know if you guys heard of So Far. That's another space that is really dope that I've gotten to do that really makes the audience listen. So I think that a lot of those spaces are important, and making sure that those keep happening and people keep supporting that, because those are the events that people really are able to tune in and listen. And so there's so much out here too, and that's another thing. There's so much. That piece, Underground Sound. I heard Vibe on Wednesday might be coming back, so I don't know.
Yeah, Iconoclast also happens over here.
Iconoclast, yes. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Is 10 Johnson Avenue still going? I don't know. But just being very, intentional has been, like, I guess, the main thing. And, yeah, I'm going to keep rambling, so take this.
I would say the biggest thing, number one thing as a curator, if you organize anything, is to kind of submerge yourself in other environments that are not like your own. Get out your comfort zone and meet new people, so that you continuously have new faces and new people in the spaces and the events that you're creating. I see organizers do this all the time. A lot of times we'll wait until someone else features somebody that we never heard of, and then we'll slide in their DMs like, yo, I got a show too. You trying to come over here? Versus really going out and building relationships with people. Don't just go out to an event if you're performing at it. Like, go support other people, meet people, sit down, chat with them, rub elbows, like, get really cool. That's how we build community. So that's like the main advice I would give, is just go to a different environment, meet some new people, invite them out, collaborate with them, and begin to build this solid infrastructure here in Indy where it is continuously connected and growing and building collectively.
Did you have anything, Manon?
Let's take some questions.
Okay. Yeah. So the first one question, getting another question. What is one way for people who are not artists or curators to be involved with the inclusion process?
I want to say everybody in here has some type of asset, right? So you have some type of individual asset or connection, and whether that's this is a person who I know, or I write for this company or this website, or my uncle is putting on this show, or I'm a grant writer. You know what I mean? Like everybody has individual assets in this room that you can use that you probably don't think that you can use to support artists. And that looks a lot of ways, because I think that sometimes we're just like, oh, okay, you can do this. I mean, you can definitely do some very common and specific things, like come to shows, put us on shows, pay us well, pay us well.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. For the people in the back, they didn't hear you either. What'd you say, Manon?
Pay us well. So you can definitely do those things, but also, when we're talking about assets, there is non-monetary assets too that people have that you can connect us and so
share a flyer.
Yeah, so share flyers. Yeah. Spread like the word. So, yeah.
That's right. I agree. No, yeah, that was it.
Okay. So, all right. Next question. What is the most significant indie performance?
The most that we've done?
I guess that you've seen, that you've been in either one, anyone.
Most significant indie performance.
Who asked the question?
Okay, Manon. Just calling people out.
Huh.
That we've done?
That we've done, yeah, huh. That's hard. Like that. Let's see. Let's go over. So like open mic scene, boom, 3 years. Let's see. No, for real. Like I feel like every single one has been important though. Like every single one. That's hard to say. It's really hard to say because so many. Like every exchange is so important. But yeah, every exchange is really important. I feel like all the moments where I can say this, boom, got you. Every time that I've failed at something or did something wrong has been monumental. Like that's great. I feel like I've been on stage and fumbled my words or something. Like I can think. I don't even want to tell y'all which ones it was. There might be video footage, but like seriously, like I think that those are more important than like how far I even went. Cause like how much better can I get? Cause I've done some pretty cool shows like that don't even amount. Like okay, let's see. Let me name drop a little bit. Cause I never do. I really don't. Opening for Tank, opening for Bone Thugs and Harmony, Twista and Do or Die, Music Soul Child and Raheem Devon. But I did not like grow as much as I did when I was at the Vogue or like, Square Cat, fumbling my words because I didn't do that. Like, I don't know. So they're all important to me. Yeah.
So I would say one, Wordplay was a significant show for me, even though it wasn't like, I feel as a collective or even myself, my best performance as a MC. I feel like that show did a lot for the genre, it made a lot of noise for women in this city, period. So I would say that was a very significant show. And people have been talking about it since then, even if you're not an artist or anything, the way that it just made you feel. Like, I mean, when are you gonna go to the Arts Garden and do the electric slide during intermission with everybody? Like, it was just, I don't know, it was just this familial vibe. So it was a significant show. I will also say as a band, right, performing as a band is very different than performing individually. There's a lot of places that do not, let me say this. So the open mic scene does not book bands often at all, right? So there has been a specific kind of show and arena that as a band we've been in. And I feel like a lot of people could do more booking of bands just across the board. Now I understand budget and things like that because you can get pretty expensive with a band. But the shows that we have done have all been significant for me because this is about co-creating, this is about collaborating, this is about working through challenges with personalities and music and trying to create this experience, no longer as an individual, but as 6 different people coming together, right? So every one of those performances have been significant. Last year was a really good year for us in terms of just us growing. So when we were able to open up for Arrested Development at the Vogue, it was significant for hip hop to be able to soak up advice from people who've been in the game for a long time, and they tell us like, yo, y'all have something good. Continue to do this, don't do this. All of that was, just a learning experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would also say Wordplay. Definitely for all of the reasons that Mariah mentioned, just as far as what it did for the Indianapolis scene, for women here, culturally. So that was a very, very beautiful happening. And then I think personally, I like I'm also just really grateful for every opportunity that I get, and sometimes it's a couple of people in a house, like I did a house show like last week, and then sometimes it's hundreds of people, and I'm very, very thankful for every show. I think I enjoyed, let's see, was it last year I got a chance to open up for Jennifer Holliday, the Broadway actress Jennifer Holliday, for World AIDS Day, and so that was really, really huge, and I got to meet her, and so that was a very esteemed honor. And got to perform for a very big cause. So, yeah.
The next question is, it says, I work with amazing youth who are the most creative people I know, but they're not connected with the scene. If they want to, how do I help them get connected and elevated?
I'm about to say, look it up. It's really that simple. Look up, literally, I think you can look up a a few, like literally if you just go on there simple, like everybody has an Instagram. I don't know how, I guess it depends on how young you go, but for the young ones, just go around and ask around, to be honest. Like there's so much out here just by picking up a Nuvo or picking up, just like even like all of us have been an Indie Star, just doing a little bit of research, being intentional. Like I said, if you come to Indianapolis and you just look for what you want, you'll find it. If you just really look for it, you'll find it, because you can look up pretty much anything else. So but just surrounding yourself. Once you find that one thing, that's all you need, I promise. If you can find that one thing, like I found that one open mic, and I didn't even know there were open mics in the city before I started. And that was 2016, and like I didn't even know. Like, why didn't I know this? I think I was 21, so it's like, how did I not know that my city did this? And it took actually, yeah, it just took me caring enough to have the courage to look for something like that. Like, and there are so many. I'm not sure. Aren't you still involved with?
Tease Me.
Yeah, that one. That's one. Tease Me. Yeah, tell them about that, because that.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Tease Me is a youth, also has youth open mic, and it's every first Friday. Mm-hmm. It's on 22nd in Delaware. So yeah, if you have some kids, you could bring them out there.
And that one.
Yeah.
Will have you going.
Pretty much, yeah. And then.
So I will say that we do not have. A lot of our scene does not cater to youth, right? I can count on my hand how many under 21 venues we have that has really good art, and we have to do a better job at that, just creating spaces for young people to come and be involved. Because I know when I was 12 and 13 years old, and someone was kind of taking me under their wing and bringing me to these shows, and in some spaces I wasn't old enough to be in, but because they wanted me to check out the art and I wanted to be a part of that. But everyone doesn't have that person in their life that's going to say, I'm hip, I'm connected, let me bring you, right? So we have to do a better job at creating spaces for young people. However, that Peace Open Mic is a space for youth as well. It's every third Thursday at the Central Library downtown. So our next show is actually this coming Thursday, April 18th. It's National Poetry Month, so y'all should just come out. Starts at 7 o'clock. That's open to young people. Like you said, you have Tease Me as well. And hopefully, as artists, we can start to do more workshops and, create more spaces for young people to just come and write and learn the craft as well. So
absolutely. And then shout out to Word is Bond too. Word is Bond, if you don't know about them, I suggest you look them up. They are and if we can talk offline too, whoever wrote the question, but Word is Bond is a youth creative writing poetry organization as well. So, and I know you've talked to them too and stuff too. Yeah, man. So, okay, all right. Next question is, what is missing from the Indianapolis art scene? What would you say is missing besides youth? More spaces for youth. Still making art inclusive for just women voices. What else? Perhaps could be missing.
I think I know. Well, not know, like, oh yeah, I got it. No, but I do think that we're on our way. Like right now, it's just a matter of continuing and making sure that we're consistent with it. Making sure that, like she said before, like going into different, venues, different walks of life, and I don't know if a lot of the scene even knows about 10 Johnson Avenue. I'm like, y'all got to check out 10 Johnson Avenue, that coffee shop. They always have music, and that's a way to get connected. Just walk into places that host music often, and they can honestly plug you. They know artists. You go into Square Cat Vinyl, they're gonna tell you every artist they know. But yeah, I just think I kind of lost my train of thought there, to be honest. Just rambling. Yeah, what is it missing? Yeah, no, just really just being consistent, I think, because some things fall off in the city. So I think maybe making sure that we're consistent with making sure that things are out there and present for people, because you should be able to find it. When you look up something like events in Indiana, or in Indianapolis, Indy, whatever it is, or music or whatever, youth events, whatever it is, workshops, like that should be a thing. Yeah. And so many people have been asking me to do that, and I know that all of us have worked with youth, so it's just like a matter of, I guess, like she said, doing better on our part and doing it, getting it together. It's happening though. It really is.
It sounds like you're saying access to it. So
yeah, I mean, we need
access to the art scene. Like she's missing from the art scene.
Access, yeah, that and just having the right support, because sometimes like we use our connections as best as we can, so it's not always easy to put together a giant workshop with a budget of an artist or an educator, even, like, what I mean, like not all educators are, like, so it's like we have to help each other build these things as a community. So if you know somebody that, like she said, all these assets that you have, you don't even know you have them. It's a matter of just, hey, does your company throw events ever? If they ever do, I know artists that are out here really, doing their thing. And just like that, you can make a wave of things happen for an artist. So just little things like that, more of the community doing that, and then more of us keep, providing, and that will allow us, actually, it's just going to be a cycle, it'll allow us to provide those platforms, because it's kind of hard, trying to balance everything, but once you get a little support with a little bit of hands, you're good.
And can I add that I would also love to see cross collaboration of genres, and so I'm very happy that it started off. Mike and Patrick started off with the Virginia Avenue Folk Fest, which they've now sort of revised into the Virginia Avenue Music Fest. So they've made it diverse. But I don't know of a lot of festivals here, it's like we have pockets, it's this kind of fest with these same kind of people in this genre and this, and this over here. I would love to see more collaborative festival that's featuring all of the talent that we have here across the board. Like, let's all get together. I just did a feature. There's my girl back there, E, with Among the Compromise. They're a rock band, and they are absolutely killing it. I had never heard of them, but she asked me to be on a record with them. And so it's like you have hip hop and you have rock, and they are getting ready they're doing their release party May 3rd.
Congrats.
Remind me, where's the place? At Radio. Yeah. And so
that's what's up.
Yeah, so we can do that festival wise, then we can also do that personally. Like, as a hip hop artist, I want to invite a blues artist to be on my record, Let's get together. I want to work with Mina back there. So it's like, let's collaborate across genres and really showcase the broad level of talent that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome.
Couple quick things, because I know you have a couple more questions. So I'm going to say one, cross collaboration, absolutely. Just the other day, Tribe Soul did a show at Healer with Joshua Powell, the Outside Voices. First of all, where do you see rock and hip hop and soul? Like, right. Tribe Soul didn't even make sense on that lineup, but it was so incredibly dope, and just that. So we're gonna start doing more of that. So if you are in a position to organize a show, cross collaboration, absolutely. I will also say access, and when I say access, I also mean affordability to venues, right? There are a lot of people who want to throw shows, but sometimes venues make it impossible for you to use their space because they want to charge you an arm and a leg and 3 toes, to make it happen. And then you also have to pay the artist, and everybody wants their cut, right? So I think access, affordability to venues would be awesome.
I'm not taking that mic, Mariah. I'm not taking it. How does someone know when to take up space and when to open up space for others? Okay. No, we have this next question is, why are y'all so dope? Which, if y'all want to answer, but apart from that, then yes. Last question. How does someone know when to take up space and when to open up space to others? Because you all do a really great job of opening up space to other people and other artists, or just making connections between other artists. So that's a good question. That's something
real.
Good to talk about.
I think that's just like going with your heart. You know what I mean? Like, if you feel something, you have an idea, you want to get a message across, do it, and then reach around you to pull it together, and you'd be amazed what you can do. So I never thought that I would host anything. Nope, that's not me. But once I saw that, wow, like, I do have this idea. I do want people to hear this. I do want them to feel me. I want them to feel this energy. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna put it together. I'm gonna do my best to pull it together. And if you don't know how, just ask. Just find out who does. There's always one person you can find out something from. And if you don't know, somebody next to you might know. So I don't know. It's just a matter of opening up and just feeling your heart and going with it.
Yeah.
So I want to say, like one thing that I'm really interested in doing, in addition to just like not only being a performing artist, but also being a culture bearer. And I think that opens up space. So, not just saying it's about me, but it's about all of us. It's about something that's so much very larger than me. And so I think a lot of that is also just, so that's bringing the youth back in, passing down the mantle and saying, okay, like, hopefully, by the time I get, in 10 years, I'm not going to be doing hip hop probably. And so I'll probably be writing books in a mountain somewhere, and so that's making way for, okay, who are the other younger MCs who are now going to come on the Indianapolis scene, and how can I push them along and spread the word? That's opening up space for others and saying that, okay, it's larger than me. This is about all of us, so we can all be culture bearers. We can pass something on. We can pass the legacy of what we are doing on to other people. So,
Culture bearers. I like that.
When do you know when to take up space? When something or someone is being overlooked within a space where they should be highlighted, where they should be recognized. So, randomly, if there is a rap event happening and there are no women on it, me and Boogie might just say, we should go take up some space tonight,
I mean,
it's a
why
rap
not?
event with no women on it. Let's go hop in a cypher, right? So, yeah. So I mean, literally, when someone or something should be highlighted or uplifted in a space where we are often overlooking them, it makes no sense. That's when you should take up space. And sometimes the people who should take up space don't always feel comfortable taking up space. So if you have the platform, if you have the mic, create space for them, right? And make sure, and it could be really simple. It's being in a conversation and someone is dominating the conversation and not allowing a certain voice to be heard. Hey, I hear you real quick, but can we get over here to this person? Can we hear what they have to say, right? So using your platform to politely create space for them. And I feel like that isn't just the job of someone who organizes a show. That's the job of us all, right? Because it can be so subtle and so simple. But yeah,
I'm not taking it. I'm not. So real quick though, shout out to y'all, respect to y'all, what y'all doing. I love y'all. Please keep going. Can we give it up for them? Wait, no, wait. Okay. So, before we end though, can you tell people where they can find you, what you're doing, what your next show is? How do people reach out to you so they can make space for you now that they know that you're available? You know what I mean?
So Manon Voice, MANONVOICE, ManonVoice.com is my website. You can book through the website literally for a show, for a workshop, to do this, right? For everything, right? So, and then you can follow me. My handle is the same on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Manon Voice. And manonvoiceart@gmail.com. You can email me. And I'm doing a show tonight at Future Friends Holographic Club, Magic Club, with Nandy Comer, who's from Detroit, and I'm going to be opening up for her with Lydia Johnson. So she is a poet, and she's from Detroit, and she just released a work. I think she's a Cave Conum fellow, and so and so I'll be there tonight. I'll be at the Woo Girl Fest next week.
Woo woo.
Yes, support Woo Girl Fest.
Yes.
I want to see all of y'all there.
And the proceeds are going to young lady rockers
yes,
too, right?
yes,
Yeah, so definitely.
and so it's at Square Cat
Some
Vinyl.
proceeds.
So next Friday is the pre-launch party, and then there's a panel. So I'm doing this all over again. If you want to hear the same thing, right. So the pre-launch party, there's a panel, but there's also going to be Akara Amani, who's going to be performing there. And who else is performing for the pre-launch party? Does anybody know? Is it Wife Patrol too? And okay, and then the whole day is going to be all of the music and performing acts, and that's going to be at Square Cat Vinyl. So there's going to be spoken word and everybody else. So go to Woo Girl Fest. So I'll be there both Friday and Saturday.
And let's see, Alice and Victoria Music on everything, Facebook, Instagram.
You still got all the A's?
Listen, I do, but see, listen, we're trying to filter to a solid music page so that you can get all music, none of my shenanigans. No, not that I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, I just wanted to make a space where, like, literally you can get flyers, you can get everything, you can stay up to date, and you don't have to always get a selfie of me, like, or a whole page of selfies. Like, no, you don't have to do that. But if you would like to follow that page, Alice and Victoria, 2 L's, Victoria at the end, okay? Victoria. Yeah, okay. 3 A's at the end. I had to have 3. I did not choose it. Somebody had 1 and 2, so I have 3. I keep checking to see if she's got it, but like it hasn't happened yet. So I'm still Alice and Victoria. Okay, you can remember that, and then you can either add. Well, actually, you know what? I got cards, y'all. I'm gonna sneak some somewhere in this room.
You put them at the front.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's where they have their cards at. Yep.
That was what I was gonna do first, but I just. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll just stack some there. Yeah, I'll be here at 5:30. You guys come check me out. I'll be right before Tribe Soul, so y'all might as well come through a little early and vibe out. So
you said what time?
5:30.
5:30.
5:30.
All right, so Mariah Ivy on everything, and my last name is Ivy EY, so that's Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Tribe Soul, definitely follow us, and that is all one word, Tribe Soul, on everything, as well as That Piece Open Mic. Go ahead and follow That Piece like PEACE, every third Thursday of the month. So couple of shows coming up. My next show is outside at 6:30. Next week, right here, you can't even miss it. So next week, Thursday, is That Piece Open Mic, again at the Downtown Library. We are featuring K-Love the Poet, who is coming from Chicago, Illinois. That's going to be dope. If you are an artist yourself, you want to hop on the open mic list, feel free to come through and support that. Also, on April 20th, we are honoring National Poetry Month at the Downtown Library. So we are bringing in Hakeem Matabuti, who will be the keynote speaker. He's also doing a workshop. There will be another panel on the art scene in Indianapolis. That's from 11 to 4 p.m. at the Downtown Library on April 20th. So those are a couple shows coming up. Support us. Come through. Feel free to come to my shows and be ratchet on the first row. I love it, okay? If you are ever in the mood for a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of ratchetness mixed in with some consciousness, that's what we do. I'm also a Reiki practitioner, so I love doing energy work. So let's build. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
I'm not taking it. All right.
I'm doing it this one. I'm done.
So thank you guys all for being here with us tonight. Again, my name is Chantel Massey. I was your facilitator moderator for the night. I love these ladies. And if you feel like you didn't get your question answered, or you have more questions, or you just want to get more information, if you guys have time or to stay around, I know you may want to also go see the festival, but we'll be here. Huh?
Yeah, we'll be working the crowd.
Yes, they have shows, so of course they're not going anywhere. So you guys can come up here and talk to them. We still have plenty of time to have talk. Mariah wants to get some food, so as long as you can walk with her to get some food. But you guys enjoy the rest of the festival, and thank you for hanging out with us. All right.